Well, there's a lot of big cases that are happening in hip hop right now, some of which you've actually touched upon on your Instagram page. But I want to go ahead and recap them for people that may not have followed you on there. One of the big cases is NBA Youngboy, and I mean, this guy is so loved in the industry, but he's always getting in trouble. Like, I remember originally when he was first coming out, I think he had like a murder charge that he ended up beating. And through that time, there was always an arrest here, domestic violence there, and so forth. But it's now culminated in a situation where I guess there was a video shoot and they had found some guns. And he is now sitting in jail with no bail or no bond right now. So explain to everyone legally what led up to this and what's happening right now.
So Youngboy, the big charge on him was a couple years ago there in Louisiana. Him and his boy are in the back of a car. They both got, I think it was a Glock, might have been some other pistol or a handgun on them. They pop out the car. There's other vehicles on the street. They're in a beef with somebody else, and these two guys pop out and they start popping off. Multiple rounds of gunfire in daylight on a street with other members of the public sitting in their car. He gets arrested on that, and he ends up taking something called a 10-year deferred probation sentence. Basically, they're saying, we're sentencing you to 10 years. We're going to put you on probation, however, so you're not going to serve any of that time. And if you violate, then you do the 10 years. And when the judge gave him that, she said, son, you're very lucky you're a bad shot. Because if you had hit anyone, there is no chance that you would avoid jail time. You would get significant jail time. And so he got out on that. And from there, you saw him get put back into home confinement. And that was when the judge said he violated. And that, you know what, I'm going to bring you back in. You've been getting into beefs at your show. There's this video of you at a hotel dragging a girl. There's just too much. You're not following the terms of your probation. I'm going to bring you back in. So anyway, they put him on the home confinement. He's like on house arrest for a couple months. Judge brings him back in. She's like, all right, you're cleaning this up. We're going to let you off probation. And this is when he was in that brown suit and he was in the back of the truck. It's a great video. I love that video. And so he gets out, he's off, he's clean on the probation. He's all good. He's all good. And he said, I'm leaving Louisiana. And he did. He bought a spot out in Utah. He had a place out in Cali. And then he got caught up in this. And he got caught up in this, which a lot of rappers got caught up on. I could name them. It's just so many. A Boogie, 5EO Foreign. There's so many of these guys. Lil TJ caught one of these. Just possession of an illegal handgun. So there's 10 big name rappers just this year who've caught and why, right? Because rappers need a gun on them. They need it on them. They cannot walk around. If you're alone, you can't walk around without it on you if you're in the rap game right now because you're from the street, you're affiliated, and now you're just a rapper. And so they got it on him. They're catching these charges. Youngboy catches a charge in the worst way because he has a felony record, right? He pled guilty when he went out that car and popped off those shots in Louisiana. He got that 10-year probation sentence. But he pled guilty, so he's got that felony record under the federal law. It's a very simple, bright line rule. Felon in possession. You cannot have a handgun if you have a violent felony. This man has a violent felony. Now check this out. He's not walking around with the gun on him. Instead, he's shooting a music video. And what was happening at the music video is they're just shooting it outside in kind of a nice neighborhood. I think it was maybe outside one of his homes. And the neighbors or somebody sees what's going on. This is according to the cops. Maybe they're just following him. I don't know. Maybe they're just following him. But according to the cops, somebody calls in a tip and says, yo, there's a couple kids out here. Looks like they got guns on them. And so now the cops have what? They have probable cause to go and search these people because a report has been called in that we've seen people with guns. So the cops search the scene and they round up 13, 14 handguns. Several of these handguns have adjustments on them. So they got a handle on it that makes it easier to kind of do automatic. It's not an automatic gun, but now the recoil is less and you could pop off. They've got these extended drums. So it's like a 50-round drum, 100-round drum. Cops take all those guns, they get some money, they get some drugs, and then they start asking people all right, whose guns are these? People do a pretty good job of, claiming guns. It's oh yeah, that one's mine. It's all right, who's got the Draco with the extendo? It's oh, I got that one. but 2 or 3 of those guns are not accounted for. So now you got 2 or 3 guns unaccounted for. What happens? The cops charge pretty much everybody with everything. As time passes, they snapped up the footage from the videos. So if you look at the footage on the video, you can see that Youngboy is holding some of these guns. Now you might be able to argue it's a prop gun, but these guys, the same day they confiscated the gun, they got the video, you in the same clothes shooting on the same day holding that gun. It's going to be hard for you to prove you were holding anything other than that gun. And the way these feds work, it's crazy. Music video or no music video, you're catching that felon in possession charge. You held it for 5 seconds, you're catching that felon in possession charge. Because they're clout feds, you know, they want the clout. They want to get Youngboy. They love to get Youngboy. They hear Youngboy's songs saying all this. They love to get him. So they're able to charge him. They say, yo, you got these 2 guns on you. Not only do you have 2 guns as a felon, but you got guns that have been altered with this extended stock, with this handle. And guess what? Under the federal laws, you got to go register that gun. So even if it's a registered gun, but it's not registered with these modifications, that's a separate charge. So now he's facing 2 guns, both felon in possession charges. Now he's facing 2 more charges for having these modifications. And it's real fucking serious. And it's real fucking unfortunate. Because if you're NBA Youngboy, you run in YouTube every week. If you're NBA Youngboy, you're the hottest young rapper in the game. There is no fucking way in... And you're NBA Youngboy, and you had all this history. And you've had multiple lawyers. And your team knows what's up. How in the fuck do you get around a gun, a real gun? How? And it's crazy because when they caught him... You heard the story of when they caught him, Vlad?
I think so. Refresh my memory.
This kid is just too real for his own good. This is that Dave Chappelle thing when keeping it real goes wrong, man. NBA Youngboy pulls out of a posh California home. And I guess the cops are just sitting on his house. I don't know why. They had a warrant. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. It's coming back now. They had a warrant out for his arrest. So what happened is the Louisiana police rounded up all the guns. They charged everybody with everything. And then the feds take up the case. But we don't know that the feds have taken up the case. So sometime back last year in September, he got charged in Louisiana. He gets let out. He's back living his life. Has no idea that the feds are now going to pick up his case. So the feds say, we want him for the gun charge. We're going to charge him with it under the federal laws, stiffer penalties. They get a warrant for him. Then about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, they go to execute that warrant. So they're sitting outside his house in Cali. He pulls out in his Maybach truck. And he goes about a block, and they light him up. They got a black and white LAPD car where they turn the sirens on, and he takes off. He takes off for a little bit. Eventually, he stops. This is according to the police. This is one of the craziest arrest reports I've ever read in my life. If it's true, it's a problem for him, but it also really speaks to the type of individual that this man is, his whole history, and he's still moving like this. It's crazy. He's in a Maybach truck. He drives off on the cops at first. Eventually, he pulls over. He's in an alley. He's got like 3 squad cars behind him. The police now exit the squad cars. They're walking up to the side of his vehicle. They've got guns drawn on him. Out the PA, they announce, roll down the window. He rolls down the window. Stick both hands out the window. He sticks both hands out the window. Throw your keys outside. The throw your keys was first. They said, throw your keys outside. He throws his keys out. You see the key come out. Stick both hands out the window. He's got both hands out the window. Now, the officer fully approaches right up against his driver's side window. He's in the seat. What does NBA Youngboy do? Exactly what you would expect him to do. He slams on the gas pedal and he speeds off.
Wow.
I mean, you had a 10-year deferred probation sentence, right? You got off on that. You're the hottest rapper in the game. You've had great lawyers. You got a whole team around you. You just caught that stupid gun charge. Now they're arresting you. You're going to drive off on him? He drives off on it. This is according to the police report. We don't know the facts. Hasn't been tested in a court of law yet. According to the police report, he drives off. Goes for a while. They give chase. They lose sight of him. He just he just pulls over somewhere, gets out of the car and runs. Now he's on the run. He basically just goes and hides in like a property, like behind like a little shed or a garage. What the cops do is they set up a perimeter. They bring in the canines. They clear people out of the perimeter, and the K9 starts searching for people. After a while, the K9 hits a positive response, and there you find NBA Youngboy. Furthermore, what you find is another fucking gun in the Maybach.
Wow. Wow. And at this point, from what I understand, he's not given bond at all.
No, so he was, how it works in the federal court. So his warrant was out of Louisiana, and the prosecutor is the federal prosecutor in Louisiana. He's in California. So you get a warrant from Louisiana, you go to Cali, and you have the Cali authorities arrest him. When the Cali authorities arrest you, they're going to take you for your first appearance in front of a California judge. California judge looked at this case, magistrate judge, that's what they call it. There's 2 levels of federal judges. We don't have to get into it, but there's basically something called a magistrate. He looks at it and he says, you know what? I'm going to give this kid a bond. I would give the kid a bond, right? He's a worldwide known recording artist. The federal law asks 2 things. 1, if we let this guy out, will he come back? The federal judge in California said, all right, well, he's putting up $500,000 in cash. He's putting up deeds for more than $1.5 million in houses. He's well known. He's got good lawyers. He has every reason to resolve this situation and get back to his entertainment career. I think he will come back under these conditions. So step 1, satisfied. Step 2, is there a danger to the community? Would it be so freaking dangerous to let this kid out? Well, let's think about it. He hasn't shown any penchant for violence since that way back incident in Louisiana. The gun was for a music video. The gun he had the other day in the Maybach, he didn't we have no reason to believe he shot anyone. None of these guns, the cops have confiscated them. None of them are coming back as tied to any murders. Okay, there's a very credible argument that NBA Youngboy should be allowed to have a freaking gun on him at all times because he's a targeted rapper, for better or worse. It's the society we live in. You're not going to outlaw gangster rap, then stop outlawing gangster rappers from carrying guns. Anyway, California judge looks at it and says, you're out on bond, son. The Louisiana prosecutor got a hard-on for this kid. They're like, no. And they say, we want you to put that on hold. We're going to go to the judge in Louisiana, and we're going to see what they have to say about this. Typically, what you'd expect is that if one judge looked at the law and looked at the facts and applied it, another judge will look at the same law, look at the same facts, and apply it in the same way. That did not happen in NBA Youngboy's case. Obviously, Louisiana is a jurisdiction that is way more difficult for defendants than California. Furthermore, when they went to Louisiana, the prosecutors had more time to assemble their case. It was the Louisiana prosecutor who has a deeper file on NBA Youngboy. I also thought in that case, NBA Youngboy's lawyer should have came more aggressive, put up offers like, hey, we'll get private security monitoring this guy. You could put him on an ankle monitor. We'll have freaking 4 people posted outside his house to make sure he never goes anywhere. We'll cut the Wi-Fi off. We'll make it a radio-free zone. They should have got this kid out. This is a fucking gun charge. It's unbelievable, but we'll see. Right now, he's not out on bond. When you're not out on bond, Vlad, and you got federal charges, you want to make a deal, because who the hell is going to sit there for a year or 2 fighting cases while you're inside? It's whack.
Right. And I guess he hired Gucci Mane's old lawyer, the one that beat his murder case. And everyone was kind of quoting, there's a line where he says, I'm feeling like Gucci Mane in 2006.
Yeah.
And he went and got his 2006 lawyer that actually helped Gucci beat the murder case. If you were to guess, an educated guess, and this doesn't hold any weight at all, would you say that ultimately, after all this pans out, is he going to be able to go free with time served? Is he going to get a small amount of time or a large amount of time?
That's why we need criminal justice reform, Vlad. The federal sentencing guidelines and the system makes it an impossible situation for people. He has a great defense. Not a great defense, but he has a defense, right? I was shooting a music video. Under certain laws, you can argue that this is a place of business, that in a place of business, entertainment, that's not public possession the way the federal law is meant to criminalize the gun. But here's the reality. And he's got the lawyers who can make those arguments. And maybe there's people who'll come in and say, we had told him there were going to be prop guns and maybe he didn't know. And you can make all those arguments. But who the fuck is going to roll the dice on that? If you lose, you're looking at 5 years, 10 years. They stack those charges, 20 years. And that's the impossibility of today's federal criminal justice system in the United States. Even if you got a case that could be fought, it's not worth fighting when you look at the possible sentence if you lose. So for him, what I would expect is his lawyers will try like hell to get a bail modification. Good luck. The judge in Louisiana was a guy named Chief Judge Shelley Dick. When Chief Judge Shelley Dick has made a decision and you're going to ask him to change that decision, good luck. Good luck. And so he's going to sit in there, and I think he'll take a deal. And I think he'll take a deal that's going to have him do some time. And I think he'll probably have to get somewhere between 2 and 3 years. And I think with time served and programs that you can take while you're inside, I think you'll see him out. He got picked up in the beginning of 2021. Yeah, maybe end of 2022.